Tomorrow sees the release of the movie The Darkest Minds, which is based on the best-selling book of the same name. In this video, we learn how society reacts in extremes to change, as portrayed in the film, and how this can help you express strong opinions in a productive way, rather than experiencing an instant, irrational backlash. If you enjoyed today's video, please share it with others to support the channel and drop a like down below. Okay, so The Darkest Minds is coming out, and being from the producers of the hit Netflix show Stranger Things, is likely to be getting a lot of attention. For those wondering, the premise of the story is only 2% of children have survived a pandemic known as IAAN, which has killed off the rest of the population. Those survivors develop powers and as a result get locked away in an internment camp. Now, while there's much more to the story and a lot that can be delved into, I wanted to specifically focus on the reaction of the authorities to the powers that they consider a threat. This scenario isn't completely out of the norm, as you can often see extreme reactions in similar stories such as X-Men. There were two extreme responses that particularly caught my interest in The Darkest Minds. The first is the reaction of the mother of the lead character, Ruby, who calls the authorities on discovering her daughter's power. The second is the reaction of the government in deeming children a threat and reacting by effectively imprisoning them. In both scenarios, the motivating factor for the reaction of both the mother and the government is that they react with fear. The children are innocent, they've done nothing wrong, and in fact the situation that the characters face in the movie, children are critical to the survival of the species. However, as they fear the potential damage that can be caused by these powers, they take an extreme action to try and isolate the potential threat to keep it under control. We've already acknowledged that fear is the principal emotion that causes this reaction, as people are afraid of possible threats, but what's equally important to understand is the underlying reason for this fear, which is a lack of understanding of what's happening to the children. This applies to real life just as well. People often react in extreme to situations they don't understand, resulting in them being afraid. It's here that you can learn an important lesson about how to argue a point in a debate. If you have a strong view on a particular subject, which you know might garner negative reaction, you need to understand how to best deliver your message. First, show empathy to the recipient. Show that you are considerate of their possible viewpoint. Second, educate the recipient about how and why you formed your opinion. Finally, deliver the message, all the while maintaining your empathetic stance. You see, many of us form opinions in debates based on a number of factors that we've considered to come to our conclusion. However, when expressing those opinions, we aren't thorough, which can lead to emotional responses becoming the central point to the debate, naturally leading to arguments or the extreme response of this particular situation. Now, this isn't always possible. For example, the children in The Darkest Minds aren't really in a position to communicate their newfound powers in a way which can lead to a more rationalised reaction, and so sometimes we can't avoid the extreme reactions. However, we can learn from this example and how social structures work. Often, when people take an extreme response to a particular subject, the response is often equally extreme. Take The Darkest Minds, where Ruby is taken into an internment camp which she has to escape to try and reach a safe haven. However, she's chased through the course of the story and therefore forced to try and protect herself, sometimes being forced to take extreme measures as a result. This works in many ways, both on an individual level, such as when an argument escalates into a fight, or on a larger scales. A good example of this is when people follow extreme ideologues, often in a way that's misguided and prone to similarly extreme reactions. On the internet, there are people who view political correctness in an extreme way and are known as social justice warriors, or SJWs. With the growth of these views on the net in the past 10 years, there are equally extreme responses from others who act out solely on the basis that they don't agree with the SJWs. It's through the lack of rationale on both sides that caused this situation and arguments to escalate. And this is what fundamentally the point comes down to. You can have strong opinions and you shouldn't be prevented from expressing them. However, to have a productive debate and not mindless argument, you need to bring forward empathy and rationale when presenting your views. The children in The Darkest Minds didn't get this opportunity, and the result was extreme measures were taken. Likewise, if you're in a debate with someone, listen and understand where they are coming from when they debate. If you let yourself be overcome by your emotional response, you will see the debate devolve into action, which can lead to extreme responses, which, as we see in The Darkest Minds, can lead to serious repercussions for humans as a species. Thanks for watching. So are you going to watch The Darkest Minds? Let me know in the comments section below. Also, please support the channel by sharing our content and subscribing.